Hello fashion lovers, welcome back to my channel. On today's tutorial, we're making this beautiful joggers pant with band and drawstring that can be styled in two ways, with bows or without bows. So if this is something you're interested in, you want to stick around to the end of this video, please like and subscribe. So I'm using a light scuba material for this tutorial, and I have about 1.5 yards with me here. So I'm just going to fold it over to the wrong side. And you want to make sure that your fabric is folded in such a way that the stretchy part is for your body circumference. So yeah, I'm just going to fold this on two. Now the amount of fabric I'm folding over is determined by the hip measurement plus 4 inches. So yeah, that is why I'm reducing this. And I'm just pinning it down just to hold it in place. Next, I'm going to draw the starting line. So this other part that's sticking out is not really important. I'm going to cut it off later on. So all of my measurements starts on the line I made. And I'm going to minus 2 inches before marking each of my measurements or positions, because we're adding a band of 2 inches to this, remember. So I minused it and marked the hip line, crotch depth, and the length. The picture on the screen vividly explains how to take your crotch depth. So next I'm going to extend the lines on the other end of the fabric. I'm just repeating pretty much the same thing, and I'll just extend the lines. So that is, the first is my waistline, which is the starting point. Next is the hip point, the crotch depth, and the knee point, and the ending, which is the hem, is the full length of the pant. So yeah, next I'm going to measure out my hip circumference divided by 4 and mark it on the crotch depth, and I'm going to repeat the same measurements on the hip line and the waistline, just as I'm illustrating in the video. So you're going to mark exactly the same thing on these 3 lines, and go ahead and roll a straight line down to the crotch depth. Next, I'm going to measure extra 2.5 inches for the crotch extension. Now 2.5 inches is a standard measurement. So from that point at my waistline, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch, and at the midpoint I'm going to go up by 1 inch, and I'll just use the French curve, or you can use the hip curve to do this, to just connect the 3 points. And yeah, I have the crotch area nicely curved. Next, I'm going to measure out my waistline, starting from the point where I went in by 1/2 inch, and I'll mark it, and I'm going to add extra 1 inch for dart or ease allowance, because we're adding elastic to this band, remember. Next, I'm going to measure the full length of the crotch measurement and divide it in 2. Now this is to get the green line. And whatever I got on the crotch line, that is the mid point of the crotch line, I'm repeating it on the knee point and also on the hemline. Now this is to allow me to distribute the measurement evenly on either sides. Now how wide I want my leg pants to be is 10 inches. So I'm just going to distribute 5 inches on each side with 1/2 inch allowance on each end. So that is what I'm doing right now. That is basically why I did the green line stuff. So yeah, and on the knee line, I'm just going to repeat the same measurements I have on the crotch area, because this part is going to be baggy, not fitted at all. So next, I'm just going to connect the lines right to the hem. So I'm using my tape for this because my ruler is not that long. So yeah. Now on this side of the pants, I'm going to draw out my measurements, leaving half an inch for seam. But first, I'm going to use a slight curve to connect the waistline to the hip line, and then that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to cut this out real quick. And yeah, this is what we have. I'm just going to remove the first part, which is the one that has the label, to guide me to cut the back panel. So I'm just going to place it. I'll folded the material on two, and I left extra 3 inches at the front side and at least 2 inches at the other end. So yeah, I'll just place the fronts, and I added 2 inches to the crotch area and 1.5 for seam and ease allowance on the rest of the pants. So it's just on the crotch area that I added up to 2 inches. Yeah, because this pant has lots of allowance, so that is why I'm doing it like that. And then at this part, I just added 1 inch, and also on the waistline, I just added 1 inch. And yeah, this is pretty much it. And on the other side of the panel, I cut out, making sure I leave half an inch for seam allowance. So yeah, I'm just going to cut out the rest of the pants and trim the tape band area, and this is what I have. Next, I'm going to make this mark just to indicate the wrong side of the fabric to guide me. And this is the band of about 26 inches and 3 extra inches. I made a detailed tutorial on how to make this very band that I attached to this joggers pant. So you'll want to watch it. I'll attach it to this video, and you can also check the link in the description box. So next, I'm going to cut the pockets, because this joggers is going to have a pocket, of course. Now this is a length of 12 inches and a width of 6.5 inches, and I'll just make this slight curve right here just for decoration. You can make your own just straight, it's fine, but I'm making mine like this, and I'm just going to cut it out, and I'll trim this area right here. And I'll also fold the remaining fabric onto to cut the other pocket. So yeah. And this is everything I've cut so far: the back panel, the pockets, I cut out 2 of it, the front panel, and this is the drawstring I'm using for the band, and this is the band. So next, I'm going to show us how to attach the pockets. Now this is the wrong side of the fabric, the front panel. This is the side of the trouser, and that curved part is the crotch area. Remember this. Now you're going to make sure you attach your pocket to the side. Now I'm going to turn it over to the right side. Now it was on the wrong side earlier. I turn it over to the right side. I'll take the pocket flap and I'm going to also place it right side facing right side, and I'll measure down 6.5 inches, or you can make your 7 inches, and I will just make a mark of half an inch to stitch it down. You can rewind to watch this again. Now let's take this to the sewing machine. I've gone ahead to run a stitch, and this is what it's looking like right now. Yeah, I'm just going to make a notch right there where I double stitched, and I'll turn this over. Remember, that was on the right side. Now you're going to turn it over. You should have that small part sticking out if you notched your pocket very well. Now at this point where I'm pointing right now, you're going to top stitch if you want, but for this part I'm not top stitching, but you could top stitch. I'm just going to iron it, and I've gone ahead to iron it flat. You can see how nice it is. Oh my god, this is giving. So this is how yours should look at this point. Give it a nice press. Now I'm just going to fold the pocket as I did here. Make sure you observe and watch carefully, and I'll pin it down. You can see that I left half an inch for this stitching. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and stitch this, and I'll also do the same thing for this other part of the front panel. Now this is what I've done so far. I have gone ahead to stitch the area I said earlier, and I also stitched the top side of it just to hold it in place, and I closed the pockets. For some people, they like to split their pockets, but I didn't do that for this tutorial. So yeah, and I also did the same thing for the other side of it. Now next I'm going to place it right side facing right side, and I'll take the crotch area facing each other, and I'll run a stitch with half an inch. I like to double stitch the crotch area, and I'll do the same thing for the back panel. I'm just going to place it right side facing right side, and I will stitch it on the crotch area. So guys, this is what we have, and this is what yours should be looking like. Make sure your pocket is backing each other, and I'm just going to place the back panel and place the right panel or front panel on it, right side facing right side, and I'll make sure I align the crotch area. Make sure it's well aligned, and I'm going to stitch at the sides, and each of these points and areas I'm marking, you're going to stitch and also hem it. Next, I'm going to add the band, and you're going to see the final result. Make sure you watch the video for the band. And this is what is giving. Oh my god, you cannot deny that this is so nice. So this is what yours should look like after hemming it and stitching on each of those areas I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for watching to this point, and make sure you subscribe to get more content like this, and I'll see you in my next. Bye.